I'm Joy Morris, inviting you to listen to true stories of the Wild West, hosted by C.R. King, a production of RK Enterprises.
Hello, everyone. C.R. King here. Welcome to my podcast, True Stories of the Old West. And today with me is Michael Williams, the Assistant Curator of the Oklahoma Territorial Museum out of Guthrie, Oklahoma. Today, the topic is the man who killed the man who killed the man who killed Jesse James. Michael and I are here at the Guthrie Museum talking about things. We just turned on the recorder. We're talking about the Pinkertons, and we'll be getting into the death of Jesse James, part of his life, and the fiasco that occurred due to the assassination of this outlaw. Sit back and enjoy. Take care. Many people died.
Yeah. All those people. God, I don't even want to say it. But just your steel industry, the Carnegies, Rockefellers, all those people. I mean, they used them to suppress, labor movements, and interconnected whether we think they are or not. Jesse James and his brother Frank, and they're fighting a continuation of the Civil War. They're fighting against the bankers. What was it you said that Harry Truman said that
they were pikers compared to the banks.
They were pikers compared to the banks. So the pikers are the guys that do things on a small scale, and the bankers are thieves on a big scale. It's basically what Harry Truman said. And
it's still true today.
Yeah, and that's part of it. That's part of it. It's you can easily look at the James gang and Jesse James as Robin Hoods to the people of their time. We look on them and are like, oh no, that's not really. They were just criminals, blah blah. But back in those days,
he was a political.
It was
politically based.
It was politically based. Yeah, and that doesn't make killing people right or anything like that. Nobody's saying that, but yeah, there was political motivation here. For at least for him, there was a continuation of the Civil War.
Well, and you're right. And when Alan Pinkerton threw that, whatever I call it, a bomb, because it blew up inside the house, it killed his younger brother.
Right.
And his mother lost her arm.
Arm off. Yeah.
That set him off even more.
Yeah. When you're dealing with people that will kill somebody in revenge for the death of somebody else, you don't think that they're not going to come at you with everything they got after they blow up your mom's house and kill your brother. Yeah. There's, like I said, none of this makes it right, but it makes it what it is.
And he became a victim of political assassination.
Yeah, he was a victim of political assassination. There's no doubt about that. Yeah.
Now, just before we end this, the drovers that came up from Texas were all Southerners. When the war was over, they went back to their homes, and most of them didn't have any homes anymore.
Right.
Especially if they had any land.
Yeah.
So they gravitated to Texas, where for years, the whole 4 years of the war, the cattle just roamed.
Yeah.
And got fat and had baby cows.
Mm-hmm.
As this cattle will do. And that's when they started being hired to be drovers to go up to Kansas. Kansas was a free state.
Mm-hmm.
It was a union state.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
These were Southerners.
Mm-hmm.
So, and the Civil War was so fresh. They were bound to have issues.
Right.
And they did, and that's why they had so many killings.
Okay. So
what I was saying is Jesse James was political.
Yeah.
And the drovers that always took all their cattle up to Kansas to Deadhead for the cattle to be shipped back and become meat for the Easterners. Those people were Union people.
Yeah.
And they were for the Union.
Yeah.
And it collided.
Yeah.
That's why there were so many fights, so many killings, so many stabbings.
Yeah.
Because it was too fresh in their minds.
Well, yeah. I mean, this is, you're you're talking about them coming right out of that war. You know, a lot of those cowboys though were ex-slaves. Even
They had a lot of black
Yeah,
men that
yeah,
were, yes.
yeah.
And
I
that's
think
another part of
it
our
was
history.
up around 60%.
Was it that high?
Yeah, yeah. It was a huge amount of people.
Yeah, they keep that part away.
Yeah. You know, another reason why you got so many people, Southerners in Texas, was that the Homestead Act of 1862. If you had taken up arms against the United States, you weren't eligible to claim land.
Well, Texas took up arms.
Texas took up arms, but the thing of it is that Texas didn't give their surplus lands to the United States when they became a state. And so they dispersed their lands the way they saw fit. And so whenever they came back into the Union, people from the South went to Texas because they could claim land there, but they couldn't claim land in Kansas or Nebraska or places like that. Now later on they went to Texas because they could claim land there, but they couldn't claim land in Kansas or Nebraska or places like that. Now later on that was one of the reasons that a lot of them went to Texas, was because, you know, they were able to get land there.
And they got jobs.
Yeah, exactly. So,
I didn't realize that the black population was that high.
yeah,
But I did realize my whole life that they're not being talked about very much.
oh yeah. The image that people have of cowboys and cattle drives, it's kind of what they think it is, but it's really, really not. You know, it's a lot different than what they think. You know, Oklahoma, Indian Territory, it was taken up with cattle and cattle ranching.
Anyway, that brings all this back to Frank and Jesse James.
Right. Back to where we were supposed to go to begin with. Huh?
Exactly. So this guy was part owner of the Kansas City Times, which became the Kansas City Star.
Okay.
His name was John Newman Edward. He was just like the James boys, ex-Confederate, hated the Union, refused to believe that the war was over.
Right.
And he tried to make them out with glowing editorials
Yeah.
about the James boys and their gang. And a lot of people believed them.
Yeah. So
They were heroes.
Yeah. To some. Yeah. Did he turn them into heroes when they were, you know, in reality just criminals? Or
Yeah, that was his bit.
yeah, that was his bent, wasn't it?
That was his bit. That's what he was trying to do.
So I know. I think I'd read somewhere where there was only a couple of robberies that they were involved in where they stopped the train and actually robbed the people on the train instead of just
Twice.
2 times. Yeah.
2 times, yeah.
Yeah. And so yeah, but you know, the thing of it is you're robbing small banks. You know, you're robbing small banks. You don't have the FDIC back then.
And you're robbing people.
And you're robbing people. You know,
Yeah,
you're
you're
robbing
not-
people that are giving their money and they're putting that money in the care of that banker, and then you're coming in there and robbing them. And so yeah, maybe you only robbed people on a train 2 times, but every time you robbed that bank, you were robbing from the people that put their money in it.
Yep.
You know, so
They were not nice people, and they killed a lot
they
of people.
weren't. Yeah,
He was a hardcore, cold-blooded killer.
right.
So Bob Ford
Bob
was
Ford.
18 years old.
Man,
Yeah.
18.
18 years old when he met his hero,
Yeah,
Jesse
yeah.
James. His older brother Charlie, I don't know how much older he was, a few years,
a few years. Yeah,
was working for him already.
yeah, right.
But they were not hardcore gangsters at that time. Bob Ford would hold the horses
Yeah,
for him
yeah.
for the escape.
Now this is I think we need to clarify, this is post Northfield, Minnesota
Oh, absolutely.
raid time, you know. So now the core of the James and Younger gang are gone. You know, they're either dead or in prison. And
After that
raid, yeah.
After that raid. Yes.
And so they're using Bob Ford and Charlie Ford are guys that Jesse's trying to recruit to go do this, but these aren't those hardcore border guerrillas that he fought in the Civil War with, and then spent a decade of his time robbing banks and trains with. These are new guys that are looking up to that image that's created by the newspaper man.
He didn't really trust him,
Yeah,
but he didn't have anybody else.
he didn't have anybody else. Right,
Exactly.
Right. Yeah. How do you trust people? Like I'm sure he had complete trust in his brother and the youngers that he was in the Civil War with. You know, I mean, these were. You know, I hate to use this, but it was like a band of brothers. You know what I mean? It's one of those things. It's like, you know, you go and you know, you serve in these conflicts, and then you know, form this bond of trust with the men around you. Well, he don't have that anymore, you know, and so here he's got Bob Ford and Charlie Ford staying at his house to help guard him.
Yeah. They joined in November of 1881.
Yeah.
So that was almost over with by that time.
Right.
What the Fords had to do is they had to secure safe homes, safe houses,
Right.
where they could go and hide and be safe.
Mhm.
So they used their family.
Mm-hmm.
You know, well, things happened. You know, there was a pretty woman. It was one of the sisters,
Yeah.
and then two men got into an argument.
Yeah.
One was the cousin of James, and the other one was just a regular gang member.
Mm-hmm.
And well, there was a fight. They pulled out guns. They shot each other, at each other. They wounded each other, but didn't kill each other.
Right.
And Bob Ford pulled out a gun and shot one of them in the back of the head because his friend was wounded.
Wow. Okay.
He got arrested.
Yeah.
That's when the governor stepped in and said, "We want Jesse James, and I will pardon you no matter what."
Oh wow. Okay.
He made a deal.
Okay. Yeah.
Yep. That's
Yeah.
it. Dick Liddy, Liddli. Not sure how to.
I think it's Liddy.
Is it Liddy?
Yeah.
He was the one that was shot in the back of the head
Yeah. Okay.
by Bob Ford. So Bob Ford got excited. He wanted to do Jesse James. He wanted that money at $10,000.
Yeah.
He talked his brother into it because he needed Charlie in order to get close to Bob.
Right.
So Charlie started pushing him and his brother to be gang members,
Right.
real gang members, because Jesse wanted to rob another bank.
Right.
And he, they were living with him. And this one particular day, he invited them into his house. They had breakfast. And they were going into the front room, whatever they called it those days, to sit down and discuss robbing this bank.
Yeah.
That's when he noticed this picture was cockeyed.
Mm-hmm.
He got out of a chair, straightened it out, and he was shot in the head, killed.
Right.
Dropped dead. And the two brothers ran out bragging to everybody, I just killed Jesse James. And they got arrested,
Yeah.
tried,
Yeah.
ordered to be hung,
Yeah.
and pardoned
Yeah.
within hours.
Yeah. That's crazy.
It is crazy.
All in the same day. What was it? Maybe like 2-3 hours.
I think it was about 2 or 3 hours.
Yeah. I mean, it was just basically immediately. You know, they're arrested, tried, convicted, sentenced, and pardoned.
Yep. According to my notes here, Bob was never trusted,
Yeah.
but his brother Charlie was.
Yeah.
And that's why he had to talk his brother
Yeah.
into helping him.
Well, I mean, you know, he's an 18-year-old kid. You know, I mean, I'm sure he's got some sort of how should I put it? You know, there's hero worship going on here, and then you know, there's this, you know, that growth into manhood and the search for respect in a you know, dangerous environment, and you know, maybe that's probably had a lot to do with that first killing. You know,
Probably. But this killing of Jesse James was April 3rd, 1882.
Yeah.
And Bob Ford joined in 1881.
Right.
November.
Yeah.
So it was pretty recent.
Pretty quick. Yeah.
And according to everything I found out about him, Jesse really liked his older brother, Charlie.
Yeah.
He was trusted.
Yeah.
Bob Ford never was.
Man, we go back to that Band of Brothers statement. I mean, this is a total Shakespearean tragedy. It's like the hero trades in his old band, for a new band, and then that's where all the intrigue and the traitors come from.
Right.
So yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy how that plays out.
Yeah. Interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is.
So, I had the name of his sister, but I don't have it with me. Sorry about that. It doesn't matter.
Was it the Ford sister that Jesse was
It was a
smitten with?
Yeah.
She was married though.
Yeah.
Yeah,
She was married.
yeah. But he was still kind of enthralled with their sister. That's got to be a weird dynamic too.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I would think so.
So, it's like, what's going on? What went on at that household that might have, kind of pushed Bob Ford in that direction too?
Well, probably.
You
That's
know?
why he pulled the gun out.
Yeah, the way I understood it though, with Wood Height. that-
Bob killed just his cousin was Wood Height.
Okay.
Okay, that's where I made a mistake. So he shot the other guy, and I already mentioned his name, and
Yeah.
I can't find it here. I'm sorry, but it's here.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
Oh, Dick Little. That's who it was. Yeah. So anyway, that's what happened. But see, Bob Ford thought this would become famous.
Right. Yeah, Delusions of Grandeur. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
So he put on a stage.
Yeah. Yep.
Show, if you will.
What was that called?
It was
Like
called
Missouri
Outlaws of Missouri.
Outlaws of Missouri. Yeah.
So he would get on the stage and
Yeah.
he would present his case of exactly what happened. Well, kind of minus that the man was shot in the back of the head.
Yeah. Exactly as he saw it.
As he saw it.
Yes.
And he was booed everywhere he went.
Yeah.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
People hated him. Jesse was considered, like I said, Robin Hood
Yeah.
by
Yeah.
a lot of
Well,
people.
he had a good press agent.
Yeah, major newspaper.
Yeah. Yeah.
At that time.
Yeah.
And the pressure got so bad, and they were so ridiculed and chased out of different towns. Charlie, the older brother, committed suicide.
Yeah.
Shot himself.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, wasn't he I want to say he probably had tuberculosis or something.
That's true. He did.
And
He was sick. He was dying.
And because of that, he was a morphine.
He got
addict.
hooked. You're exactly right.
Yeah.
He got hooked on morphine.
Yeah.
See, I'm trying to make a shortcut. You're bringing out the real facts.
Well, we got to do that. We got to talk about that stuff. But yeah, it's kind of like, was it the guilt of betraying Jesse and being a part of that assassination that he killed himself, or was it because he was, drowning in blood? And
I think it was a combination of the
Combination
two.
of the two.
I think that the treatment he was receiving
Yeah.
was the icing on the cake in a sense.
Yeah.
It's like I'm sick, I'm this, I'm that.
Yeah. Just can't deal with this anymore. Yeah.
Done.
It's like it's impossible for me to get up there and do this, and then you guys spit on me.
Yep.
So yeah, no,
So he goes, and so Bob is alive. He goes to Creed. What's the pronounce it?
yeah,
Creed?
Creed,
Colorado.
Yeah, he bounced around though.
Yeah.
It wasn't, we're moving fast, but yeah, he bounced around, to the boom towns and such stuff as that. But he lands in Creed, yes.
Well, he was also doing his show,
Yeah,
which was a bomb. I mean, people
Right.
would come, but they were just
yeah,
terrible.
yeah. But how do you know until you go and see it?
Well, they all liked him. They liked Jesse James.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
and he went to Pueblo, Colorado first. He
Yeah.
got chased out of there.
Okay.
Okay, he went to Creed.
Mm-hmm.
I guess he had enough money left over to open up a dance hall.
Right.
Dance halls have saloons. 6 days later, it burned down.
Yeah.
So did half the town.
Yeah.
And like you said, did it burn down the rest of the town because they were bad at him?
Yeah. Yeah. Just makes you wonder.
Yeah, of course.
You know, it makes you wonder. It's like he opens something and less than a week later it burns down, and then what is it? 4 or 5 more days, and Ed Kelly shows up.
6 days.
6 days.
Well, here you go. Ready?
Okay.
May 29th, 1892 is when he opened up the dance hall.
Okay.
Burned down 6 days later.
Mm-hmm.
He put up a tent,
Right.
and within 2 days, Ed O'Kelly shows up, 10-gauge shotgun, creeps up to the front of the tent. That was a makeshift tent for
Right.
his dance hall. Said, "Hello, Bob." Bob Ford turned around and 2 barrels
Just boom. Yeah.
into his neck.
Yeah.
Dead.
It's like, okay, 10 gauge. We've got pictures upstairs of Bill Doolin getting
Yeah.
shot with 2 barrels from a 10 gauge.
Oh, do you really? I can
Yeah,
see
oh
that.
yeah, and you know the holes are
All
huge.
that,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's all around his chest, and the holes are huge. And it's like, man, okay, so if close range, because Doolin's up on a horse, and he's turned around sideways when he gets shot from below.
Mhm.
So now Bob Ford gets shot in the neck from a guy standing right in front of him. It just makes you wonder what was left. You know, I mean, it's like if he pulled off 2 barrels,
His head was gone.
yeah, that's what I'm wondering. You know, it doesn't say he blew his head off; it just
No.
says he shot him in the neck.
It says here his age was 30
Yeah,
by that time.
so 12 years, give or take, after he
Yep. After he killed.
assassinates Jesse James, because that's what it was. That was a political assassination. You
It
know,
was.
You're the governor of Missouri.
Wanted him dead.
Yeah. Sought out assassins and paid assassins to go kill him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, but yeah, you know, the guy's a criminal. I get it, but still, it's wrong. That's not the way we're supposed to work in the United States of America.
But here's something else I found out. Ed O'Kelly was the one that killed Bob Ford.
Right.
Okay. But did you know that he was a lawman?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. He was a deputy in one of those little towns.
Bachelor City.
Bachelor City. Wow.
Suburb
Wow.
to.
That sounds like a boring place right there.
Well, it's gone now.
Yeah, imagine. Was there no one there to like repopulate?
No, the mines played out.
Oh, okay. It wasn't a lack of women.
No, never a lack of women. A lack of
Bachelor
wives.
City, you know, I don't know.
But they said he had a really bad temper, a terrible temper.
Yeah.
And he was employed as a town marshal, and then later he became a deputy sheriff for Hinsdale County,
Okay.
which is right there where Crete is.
Right.
Okay. And then he did kill a man once. This goes to Ed O'Kelly's personality and having a temper.
Mm-hmm.
A man accidentally stepped on his toes.
Yeah.
He killed him for it.
That's crazy.
That was in 1891.
Yeah. I mean, that's just crazy, right?
It is crazy.
Yeah.
And he went to prison,
Mm-hmm.
and he was pardoned.
Mm-hmm.
There were 7,000 signatures trying to get him pardoned.
Is this for killing Ford or
No,
the guy that he stepped on his toes?
the guy he stepped on his toes.
Really? Weird. Huh.
I think. I could have it backwards,
Maybe.
but he did shoot a man
Yeah.
for doing that. Shot him in the back for accidentally stepping on his toes, and he did get pardoned for killing Ford.
Yeah.
And that was
But it was into the sentence. I know. Did he get a life sentence or?
he got a life sentence.
Yeah.
But they pardoned him, and it was partly because of the people, the citizens trying to get him pardoned.
But he only served
A short time for killing
yeah
this man.
9 years, maybe 19 years, something like that.
Something like that.
Yeah.
I have it here somewhere. I thought I'd do it all.
But yeah, I think it was 9 years. I think he served 9 years, and the guy he killed, the other guy was in Pueblo,
Yes.
and then the way I kind of read it was that he went to Pueblo, but they kicked him out of town, you know, because of the past troubles.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm just wondering if he was, you know, just a bad drunk and, you know, that kind of a thing. And well, he's obviously murderous. I mean, that's.
I think he probably just took off.
Yeah,
He left.
yeah,
He didn't go to jail for that because it doesn't make any sense.
yeah,
I got him mixed up with Bob Ford.
yeah. Okay.
Sorry. Forgive
Okay.
me.
So, you know,
But that's okay. I mean,
we've talked about a lot of stuff.
yeah, we have. We started about my book.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'll tell you more in a minute about that when we're done. So he got out.
And he comes to Oklahoma
He
City.
comes to Oklahoma City.
Yeah.
And he got arrested by H.T. Bunker.
Uh-huh.
I don't know what he was doing, but he did something.
The way I saw it was because he looked like a suspicious character.
Oh, I remember now.
Yeah.
Because there was a guy in Crete that recognized him
You know.
and
yeah.
told the police.
Yeah. Yeah. Wasn't he the bartender?
Yes.
At
At one of
Ford's
the
place?
saloons, yeah.
I think he was actually Ford's place, and he was a bartender there. But I don't
Sounds
remember what
familiar.
his name was.
I have it. I could send it to you.
But
He told the police
yeah,
that he got arrested
yeah,
and released
yeah,
that the same night.
yeah. Well, they were probably like, "Hey, what are you doing here?
Exactly.
This is our town. You need to, follow the straight and narrow. We got our eye on you, and if you don't play by our rules, we'll, whatever, and you'll
We'll
end up
run you
going
out of
straight
town."
somewhere else. Yeah, yeah, exactly. That's the,
Well, the trouble is, he was angry. He has a temper, right?
right.
He told people that he knew there that he would kill the next cop
Yeah,
that he sees.
right. Yeah, this was revenge.
hmm
Yeah.
So he had two guns. He always had two guns on him.
Mhm.
I think they were in his pockets.
Yeah.
Called pockets. And he's walking down the street,
Yeah.
and this officer, Joe Burnett, is walking towards him.
Right.
He says, "Howdy." He clobbered Burnett,
Yeah.
pulled out a gun.
Yeah.
Burnett grabbed his hand, and the gun went off.
Yeah.
And then the fight went on for
Yeah.
15 minutes.
15 minutes. That's incredible. I just, it's like who was watching the clock on this one?
There were people around watching this.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
nobody would interfere. There was a policeman at the corner watching the fight
Yeah.
that did not interfere.
They didn't interfere. 15 minutes though. I mean, think about that. That's like 5 rounds of a boxing match.
Is it really?
Yeah. Yeah. That's
So-
5 rounds. And or that's 3 rounds of MMA fighting. Like the UFC.
Well, that's basically what this was.
Yeah, that's what this is. And they're going at it for, 15 minutes. And how old are these guys? 30 plus?
I think so.
Yeah. It's like,
Actually.
man, those are some tough dudes. It's like, I've been in a fist fight, man. It didn't last no 15 minutes.
I've been in a few myself.
Yeah. But, they weren't battles to the death either.
No.
So,
Well, your fist fight. So what happened was they both had guns,
yeah. Yeah.
and they emptied their guns.
Yeah.
Well, at least Ed O'Reilly did,
Yeah.
because the other gun was
I don't
hidden.
think
I
I don't think Burnett ever got his gun out until the end.
No, he had a gun. He emptied it.
No, I think he
He had two guns.
because he ended up, like I said, I don't think he pulled it. I don't think he was able to pull it because he had like a billy club or a blackjack.
That's
that he
right,
was
you're right.
beating him with, and he was holding on to the gun hand.
At the same time, he was.
He's trying. Yeah,
That's
yeah,
true.
yeah. So I don't think he actually had his gun out, but I think the by the end of the 15 minutes, Kelly or O'Kelly had emptied 2 guns at him.
Yes,
That's
that
what
makes
it was.
sense.
Yeah.
Makes more
Okay.
sense. So there was his name was R.E. initials in those days.
You're right.
Chaplin, Chapin, and he was that was the guy that called the police,
Right.
saying,
right,
"Please
right.
come." A.G. Paul, railroad bagman.
Yeah.
He saw what was going on. He was at the depot
Yeah.
in downtown Oklahoma,
Yeah.
and he ran down there and he grabbed O'Kelly's arm
Right.
long enough for our man Burnett
Yeah.
pull out his
Pulls
gun,
Yeah.
shot him in the head.
He shot. Well, I think he shot him in the leg first.
He did,
Yeah. Shoots him in the leg.
right above the knee.
Yeah. Shoots him in the leg, and then that kind of drops him, and then he just sticks the gun up to his head and shoots him. and kills him dead.
That's right.
Yeah, I think I read that whenever they came to pick him up, there was like a wash tub, size blood puddle, from,
I can imagine
from this guy. Yeah, yeah.
Well, Burnett had it as part of his ear.
Well, yeah, because he was chewing on his ear. Yeah, apparently, chewed half his ear.
He was trying to win the battle.
It's like, yeah, like I said, it was a death struggle.
It was.
And it's like, oddly, I know multiple people that have bit people in the ear in fist fights.
Have you really?
Yeah. No, I never did that, but I know multiple people that have done it. And I'm like, how on earth? How on earth? But I guess, you see, if you're not getting the good end of it, you can, grasp at straws. It's kind of like that Mike Tyson fight,
That's right. I forgot about that.
Yeah. You don't know what you're going to get hold of.
Exactly.
I think that's one of the things that happened with Kelly, is he didn't know what he was getting hold of. He just thought he could take this, this policeman in his car, and there'd be no trouble. And that just wasn't at all the case, because this guy was a boxer.
He was a boxer.
Yeah,
exactly.
He was a legit boxer. Yeah, and so
picked on the wrong guy.
Yeah, exactly. So you never know. You just never know what you're going to get a hold of.
Just.
And he got a hold of somebody that could protect himself long enough to get the advantage. Once he got the advantage, he killed him.
He did.
Yeah. So.
But at the same token, he had bullet holes in his coat. I'm talking about.
Yeah.
About Burnett.
Right.
And he was on fire. His coat was on fire.
Yeah. Yeah. Because this was like in January, so this is cold.
Yeah. And that's from the black. What do you call it? Black powder pistol.
Yeah. Right. So his jacket's on fire. His gloves were on fire too, weren't they?
Yes, they were.
Yeah. His gloves were on fire, and I think he had a grazed hip from one of the bullets.
He did. He had 2 bullet holes in his skull.
Somewhere else. So there was somewhere else that had grazed him. So
I think it was an arm.
Was it his arm? So an arm and his hip, and then at least one ear was pretty well mangled. Yep. If not both of them. I think he probably bit both of them.
He did do both, but one he ripped off.
One of them was So yeah, this was nasty. In 15 minutes, I'm still perplexed by that one.
So am I. And I'm surprised that even another policeman did that come across.
Yeah, that's weird.
I've always stepped in to help people.
Yeah.
Personally.
Yeah, it's weird though that the other cop wouldn't go help. But then again, Kelly had a guy come out and shoot a bullet too. He shot either.
Yeah, one guy
either shot one bullet or he unloaded the gun.
Oh, he shot
in
one
that
bullet.
direction.
Yeah, he got
took
scared.
off. Yeah.
And his name is not mentioned.
Yeah.
I don't think they know who he was.
Yeah. But I know that afterwards they arrested some other guys that were roaming the streets with guns. Because they were. I think the way they painted O'Kelly was that he was kind of the leader of
Okay, he just got
a
there.
gang. I know he just gets here, but
like you said, they always
they kind of floated around. People knew each other, and he had kind of recruited a gang that was going to be involved in robbing stuff. I know that one of the reasons that they picked him up was in conjunction with a burglary at some business where they blew open the safe. And so there was a lot of safes getting blown up back at this time.
Butch Cassidy.
You were talking about that.
Sundance Kid.
Yeah, and actually I know how to do that. I know how they did it.
Okay.
Yeah.
How'd you learn?
Huh?
How many safes have you blown up?
Well, because
are you trying to tell me something?
Well, we got one out in the garage. We do have one out in the garage. But no, I learned about this because I did a lot of research on this guy, Elmer McCurdy.
Yes.
Was a bank robber and train robber.
I told you, I saw his mummified body.
Yeah. Well, we got the gun upstairs that killed him.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah. And so anyway, whenever I'm doing all this research, I found this pamphlet from the Pinkertons that explained how they would blow up those safes. And it basically lays the whole thing out to you. But it's funny because they made such a big deal about them blowing up the safes and losing a lot of the contents.
Right.
But there was a reason that this happened. And one of the things is that they would they basically get like a jack, like a car jack, and they would pry open a crack in
Put
that
the dynamite
seal.
in
And no, it wasn't dynamite. What it was they would take dynamite sticks, and a lot of times these people are either working in mines or they're working for the railroad or construction or whatever, and so they would steal dynamite, every once in a while. You mentioned earlier the guy was a hobo,
Arthur Moore.
Yeah, so he's a hobo. So a lot of these guys were hobos, and so anyway, they would steal dynamite from these work sites. You take a stick here. We're going to use 6 sticks to blow up this thing, but you only stick 5 in there and you keep one of them back. And they'd take this dynamite, and to be frank, you could just go to the general store and buy this stuff too. It was readily available. But they would take those sticks and they would put them in a bucket of hot water, and they would stir the water and stir the sticks until all the paper fell off.
Oh, okay.
And then they would pour that water and that nitroglycerin into just a bottle. They called it soup. But they pour that soup
carefully.
They take a funnel and they pour that soup into that seal where they broke it open with the jack and split it. And they could have used a chisel or something like that, but a lot of times they use just kind of a jack. They would just pry it open enough
just a hair
that they could get it in there. Then they'd stick they'd pour it all in there. They'd stick a fuse and then pack it with cotton, light it up, and go, and it would blow up. And they were doing this a lot of times, 2-3 o'clock in the morning, and so they wanted it to just go boom and be done. They didn't want to go back in there and have to blow it up again. So they a lot of times use way too much. So they blow it up, and a lot of times your silver and gold that would have been stored on the bottom shelf, because it's so heavy, that would get melted. It would just kind of melt to the bottom of the floor of the safe. And that was kind of, they're like, oh well, what do you do? It was just part of it. But anyway, this is from Pinkertons. There's a pamphlet that was put out by the Pinkertons that explained how they blew up these safes and what would happen, and it was inevitably they would melt any gold and silver that was in there because these explosions were so violent. It was crazy.
So did they scrape the silver and gold off?
No, they left it. They took whatever else was in there that was available, but a lot of times there's bonds. There's stocks in there. There's another thing that they were into was postage stamps. They could go and sell postage stamps for face value.
Interesting.
And so there's a lot of this stuff. It wasn't always just gold or it wasn't money. There was other things that were of value in these deals.
Well, in this particular case, like in my book,
Mm-hmm.
and in the book that we were talking about, my book,
Right.
they didn't blow up the gold and silver.
Okay.
The bars were intact.
Yeah. Well, and you talked about that. It's like, how big was this safe that they're blowing up?
$17 million.
And you said 3 wagons full. So it's like, was it just the door that they blew off of the train?
Sounded like it, yes.
Yeah.
So that makes me think maybe there was really Butch Cassidy, the Sundance Kid.
Yeah, it's possible.
But whoever these two guys were, they knew what they were doing.
Well, and again, we go back to, the times, all right? There's a lot of guys working in mining, okay? Where did McCurdy learn how to use explosives? He worked in mining. He was a miner. So
Somebody taught him.
It's not an uncommon. It wasn't an uncommon skill to have at the time. Everything they did involved using explosives. If they're building a railroad through the mountain, what are they doing? they're blowing big chunks of it out
They
and,
sure are.
and then hauling them away. So people using explosives, just wasn't. I
What
think
you're,
it was
what
a
you're
more
trying to say it
common
was
skill.
common knowledge.
It was a more common skill than it would be now. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it wasn't like it was, some big secret.
Well, because I have those affidavits, I
Mhm.
left it in the book.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
just a little mystery here.
yeah.
That's all.
Hey, it may be in. It may
Who
be in.
knows?
And that's funny because another guy associated with the McCurdy case, a guy named Clyde Snow,
Mhm.
he lived in Norman, and he was a forensic anthropologist.
Okay.
He went to Bolivia to find the graves.
He couldn't
of
find
Butch
them,
and
could he?
and they couldn't find them. They
Exactly.
couldn't find them because he was going to identify them. And he had a technique to identify people that they had used on McCurdy, that he was going to use on him, that he used on
Others.
other people that had gone missing, and they found skeletons. This guy testified at Saddam Hussein's trial, because they found a mass grave, of people that he'd killed, and it's just like, so this is a legit guy that went to look for Butch and Sundance in Bolivia, and they didn't find him.
Yeah, they never found the bodies.
Yeah.
Consequently, mysteries.
Yeah, it's still out there. It's still
Yeah,
out
maybe
there.
I found the mystery.
Well,
Solved it.
and really anything's possible,
There was a woman that contacted me after she read the book. Her grandfather was the chief cook on that ranch.
Ah, okay.
Okay. Little conversation there.
Mm-hmm.
And then Arthur Moore King's side, two different people contacted me.
Mm-hmm.
And they both knew him. They were kids. Arthur Moore lived across the street from his uncle. So every time they went over to visit his uncle, they'd bring Arthur Moore in, and he'd tell them stories,
Right.
his stories.
Right.
And so he talked to me about that.
Yeah.
And the other guy, his grandfather was Arthur Moore King's best friend.
Right.
Okay. And they talked quite a bit. So I have a little inside information, is what I'm trying to tell you.
Yeah.
It's hearsay in a sense,
Right.
but it's coming from, what's the term? Mouth-to-mouth history.
Yeah, oral history.
Oral history.
Yeah.
Mouth-to-mouth.
Family lore, man. That's a slippery slope,
Yeah, I know,
It's-
but I didn't put that stuff in.
Yeah.
So anyway, what happened though is within a year after this fight
Mm-hmm.
and the death of O'Reilly, this patrolman became a captain.
Right.
He was promoted.
Right.
Then later, let's see, it was July 11th, 1910. He was promoted to night chief.
Yeah.
Okay, the mayor Scales of Oklahoma wanted to get rid of the chief of police, who was an elected official,
Yeah.
Habaka.
Right.
He wanted it to be strictly an appointing
Right.
position. So he tried to scoot the chief out, brought in what he called the night chief.
Mm-hmm.
Night chief handled was from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. and the regular chief was 6 a.m. to 6 p.m.
Right. Okay.
They shared a desk.
Oh,
Yeah. Oh, they're supposed to be different times.
yeah.
Well, one particular evening, Habaka, with the help of somebody else, arrested somebody after 6 o'clock.
Yeah.
Not much after, but
Yeah.
they took him to the jail, to his office, probably to talk to him. And Burnett was angry and said, "Get out of here. This is not your office. This is my office."
Right.
Habaka said, "No, I'm the chief of police. I don't care what you or the mayor says. I'm an elected official."
Yeah.
So Burnett attacked the chief,
Yeah.
clobbered him. And then the chief went for his gun, and the other policemen that were there broke it up before anybody got shot.
Right.
Habaka remained chief, and the other guy, which is Joe Burnett, went down in step or two
Yeah.
after captain.
Yeah.
However, he played politics, and he would become again night chief,
Yeah.
and then assistant chief to Bill Tillman.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
And when Bill Tilleman resigned, guess who became chief of police? Habaka.
Oh, so he's back again.
He's back again.
Yeah, yeah.
And do you know what happened to Burnett? He became I'm sorry, stuttering. He became a regular patrolman.
Oh, wow.
And he
Okay.
stayed there.
So he sided with the wrong folks, basically.
Ultimately, he did.
Ultimately, yeah.
We got to remember, Habaka was one of the 4 first policemen ever hired.
Right. Yeah.
Goes back to Concord. I forget what year that was, but you know better than I do.
Oh, Colcord.
Concord,
Yeah.
97.
No, it was earlier than that. I mean, it would have been right after, a little bit after the run.
Exactly.
Yeah. So
So he was one of 4,
1 of 4. Yeah.
plus the chief.
Yeah.
This guy was, he was very well respected.
Yeah.
But so was Burnett.
Yeah.
Because what happened was Burnett had a stroke,
Right.
and he died on July 20th, 1917. He died 2 weeks later.
Yeah.
Half of the police force went to his funeral.
Wow. Okay.
The other half stayed on duty.
On days. Yeah. That's too bad.
No.
That's too bad. Now isn't him and O'Kelly? They're buried in the same cemetery. Yeah. But I think we have covered
Quite a lot.
I think we've lost our. We're just talking now. So anyway, I'm gonna cut this off and we'll stop it right here.
Okay.
The Oklahoma Territorial Museum and myself, C.R. King, host of Tales of the Old West, we bid you goodbye until next week. Be safe.
True Stories of the Old West.